Hello everyone and welcome to another video of Red Sparkle Art. I am your host Akai Kibana and today we will talk about Hokusai, the Grand Ukiyo-e Master. Hokusai, the man. Katsukawa Hokusai is born in 1760 October 21 and died in 1849 May 10th. He is a renowned Japanese artist, Ukiyo-e Master and printmaker during the Edo period. Etymology of the name Hokusai. In Japanese, the name of Hokusai is written like this. Hokusai early life. Born in a suburb of Edo, on the eastern bank of the Sumida River, under the name of Kaja-Tarö, Hokusai's father was a craftsman, maker of mirrors at the shogun's court. Hokusai was never made an heir of his father's legacy, so there is a possibility that his mother was a concubine. Having developed a gift for drawing very early on, he first worked for a bookseller and apprenticed to a xylographer, the art of engraving upon wood, from 1773 to 1778. He then became a pupil of the famous popular workshop head Katsukawa Shunsho, who specialized in the prints of ukiyo-e, until 1790. Hokusai's first name change was after a year working for Katsukawa Shunsho. His master gave him the name of Shunro. His first ukiyo-e prints were published under this name, which was a number of kabuki actor prints in 1779. Hokusai worked for 10 years in Shunsho's studio. During this time, he married his first wife, who died in the early 1790s. He remarried in 1797 to a woman who also died shortly after their marriage. He is the father of 2 sons and 3 daughters, with these 2 marriages. His youngest daughter, Ei, also known under the name of Oi, later became an artist. Upon the death of Shunsho in 1793, Hokusai began exploring other styles of art, including European style he was exposed to through French and Dutch copper engravings. Hokusai seems to have been studying ukiyo-e in a rival school, the Kano school. He was expelled from the Katsukawa school by Shunko, the chief disciple of Shunsho. This event was, in his own words, inspirational. Quote, "What really motivated the development of my artistic style was the embarrassment I suffered at Shunko's hand." End quote. After this event, Hokusai adventured with his work through new horizons, from traditional ukiyo-e of actors and geisha to the landscape and daily life scenery. This change created a new movement inside the ukiyo-e genre, which was a step up for Hokusai's career. Fireworks in the cool of evening of Ryogaku Bridge in Edo is an example of Hokusai's new style. Hokusai was known for frequently changing his name, at least 30 times during his lifetime. When you compare with the tradition of Japanese artists at the time to change their name, his practices far exceed the norm. Hokusai's name changes are so frequent and so often related to changes in his artistic production and style that they are used for breaking his life up into periods. Hokusai citation. Quote, "Since the age of 6, I had the habit of drawing the shape of objects. By the time I was 50, I had published an infinity of drawings, but everything I produced before I was 70 is not worth counting. It was at the age of 73 that I understood about the structure of the true nature of animals, grasses, trees, birds and fish, and insects. Therefore, at the age of 80, I will have made even more progress. At 90, I will penetrate the mystery of things. At 100, I will certainly have reached a wonderful stage, and when I turn 110, everything I do, a point, a line, will be alive." End quote. Hokusai, a man with multiple names. His name sounds like the promise of a trip in time, which we Westerners, despite the immediate seduction, do not have the codes. When he changes his surname, he passes on the old one to one of his pupils. First, there is Katsukawa Shunro, a cartoonist of commercial prints depicting kabuki actors and scenes from everyday life. The next period saw Hokusai association with the Tawaraya school and the adoption of the name Tawayara Sori, creator of refined calendars and engravings. In 1798, Hokusai passed on his Tawaraya Sori name to one of his pupils, then started as an independent artist. He wasn't linked to any school for the first time, and chose to rename himself to Hokusai Tomisa. In 1805, the new century brought him a new identity, that of Katsushika Hokusai, painter and illustrator. Around this time, he published 2 collections of landscapes, famous sights of the eastern capital, and 8 views of Edo, getting more and more famous in Japan. An increasing number of people began to study under him as his pupil. In his life, there seems to have been around 50 pupils. During the next decade, his fame increased a lot due to his artwork and his ingenuousness for marketing and self-promotion. In Tokyo Festival, in 1804, he drew an immense portrait of the Buddhist priest Daruma, around 180 meters long, using a big broom and a bucket of ink. Here is another interesting story. He was invited in the court of the shogun Ienari to have a competition with another artist which had a more traditional painting style. Hokusai painting, which was realized before the shogun, was quite original in his creating process. Hokusai first drew a blue curve on paper, then dipped a chicken feet inside a red paint. Next, he shaded the chicken around, which footprints recovered the painting. After finishing, he explained to the shogun that the painting was a landscape showing the Tatsuta River with red maple leaves floating in it. Hokusai won the competition. Taito became Hokusai's new name at the age of 51, in 1811. During this period, he created the famous Hokusai manga and various art manuals. His first book was published in 1814. It contained sketches and caricatures which influenced the modern comic genre. His manga was very popular at the time. They contain animal drawings, religious portraits, and everyday life scenery. His manga collection contains 15 volumes, with 3 published after his death. In 1820, he changed his name again and became Iitsu. It is during the 14 years during which he carried this name that he made his most famous print, the 36 views of Mount Fuji, and the superb voyage over the cascades of the various provinces, allegories of the time that passes through the changing nature. Then are born the big series which will make its celebrity. It is especially the way in which Hokusai emerges from the constraints of the genre which makes the modernity of its large ensembles. Contrary to the uses, the landscape prints conceived by he do not rely on clearly identifiable sites, illustrating more the metamorphosis of the chosen motif. The Iitsu period is also characterized by a surge of activity in the surimono genre. Ukiyo-e privately commissioned for special occasions, such as the New Year, as well as the originality and strength of its painting. Whether in his first prints or in his most famous Prussian blue-collar works, Hokusai is primarily interested in nature. His first models were the courtesan or the actors of kabuki. Very quickly, it is the landscape and the animals which impregnated his works. Hokusai and the shunga genre, the art of eroticism in ukiyo-e. Hokusai also executed erotic art in ukiyo-e within a subgenre named shunga in Japanese. During the Edo period, the shunga art style was enjoyed by both men and women of all classes. There is a lot of superstitions and custom around the shunga art. For the samurai class, it was believed to be a lucky charm against death. For the merchant class, it was believed to be a protection against fire for warehouses. For the other classes, such as housewives, it was believed to be a protection against home fire. In these conditions, about everyone could own a shunga based on their beliefs. There are records of a number of women buying these books, which shows that it was not gender-locked. A common theme in shunga was a bride depicting erotic scenes from the tale of Genji. For rich families, shunga art may have been used as sexual guidance for their children. Hokusai end of life. At the end of his life, he takes the name of Gakkyo Rojin Manjin. Under this name, he produces the famous 100 Views of Mount Fuji, which is a renowned ukiyo-e landscape series. Hokusai was always painting and completed his ukiyo-e named Ducks at the age of 87. Hokusai was a perfectionist, always trying to improve his work. The legend says that on his deathbed, he pronounced these words, quote, "If only heaven will give me just another 10 years. Just another 5 more years. Then I could become a real painter." End quote. At the twilight of his existence, he dreams of living 4 years to finish his production. He died on 1849, May 10th, and was buried at the Seikyo-ji in Tokyo. Conclusion. From Mount Fuji, sacred mountain and symbol of beauty par excellence, to the Japanese waterfall, through the tigers, peonies, bullfinches and canaries that haunt his prints, who wanted to live more than 100 years has managed to sign an eternal work, delicate and poetic, sometimes caricatural too. In the famous 36th view of Mount Fuji, Hokusai manages to immensely fix the eternal and fragile aspect of life. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next video. Woo!